everyone, it's Elena here from Recruit UK, and I'm here today to talk to you about the importance of good interview feedback. So LinkedIn talent reports show that 94% of candidates are looking for feedback following on from their interviews, and from experience there can often be a massive disparity between how candidates think they came across and how they were actually perceived. So providing honest, sincere feedback is really great, it's really helpful, and the candidates will also be really grateful for this. It's important to lay out sort of strengths and weaknesses, and while us as recruiters act as a perfect middleman when giving back interview feedback, having solid feedback from our client makes it so much easier for us and also is so beneficial to the candidate in the long run. So here are some tips on providing some great non-sugar-coated interview feedback. 1, make sure the feedback is prompt initially. There is nothing worse than waiting a long time in between your interview and your feedback. And if there is going to be a delay, make sure this is outlined to the candidate from the onset and with the reason for this. 2, make sure that you display gratitude. Ultimately, this candidate has set time aside to apply for your position and set time aside to be interviewed. So make sure that you demonstrate that you are grateful for this and that you're grateful that they took the time to apply and spend time hearing about your firm. 3, make sure you begin outlining their strengths and displaying that what they are good at. Obviously, they will not, if they've not been successful in an interview, it's obviously going to have a negative twinge, but talking about strengths and outlining this to them is extremely important. When it's negative feedback and you're providing this, make sure we're talking about skills, not personality traits. Someone, for example, came across shy and that's the reason that they didn't get the job. Maybe encourage them to have more client contact in their current roles, which will in turn make them more confident and come across this way in another interview. Make sure that the interview feedback sticks to the job description as close as possible and outlines what competencies they maybe weren't strong at for that reason. And make sure you're displaying this in a really positive light also. So you can say, while you've got experience in X, Y, and Z, which is great, the job description requires you to have experience in A, B, where you were potentially lacking. It's also important to make sure when you're giving feedback that you're being sensitive. Ultimately, this can be really disappointing for the candidate. So outlining in it a bit of a sandwich with the strength, the criticism, and the strength is a really good way of demonstrating feedback. If you're struggling with giving interview feedback and you're thinking this might be sort of a positive or constructive enough, a really good way of doing it is giving thanks, outlining strengths, giving them the areas of improvement, and then advice and next steps for the future. Ultimately, providing this really good, non-sugar-coated feedback will be really beneficial to the candidate in the long run. And while they might not have been successful for your interview, the feedback that you give them might allow them to be successful in the next interview they go for. So I hope this provides you with some tips, and I look forward to hearing the constructive feedback that you give to candidates.